Welcome to EPG Pathshala. Dear students, today we would be discussing the evolution of settlements from before Christ era, the part 1. We would be starting off with the Paleolithic and the Mesolithic period, then the Neolithic period, and then the river valley civilizations. Now, continuing with the Paleolithic period, we find that when we compare the different characteristics between the Paleolithic period, where human beings were hunter-gatherers and nomads, vis-a-vis the Neolithic period, we find that in the Neolithic period, the human beings had settled down, they have become farmers, they practiced agriculture, and then over a period of time, the river valley civilizations started. So when we really look at the characteristics, we find that there was change in the lifestyle from nomadic to a more sedentary, technology-driven lifestyle between these two periods, between the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and the Neolithic and the river valley civilizations. The shelter was in Paleolithic and Mesolithic, it was basically top of trees, in caves, but when the people settled down, they made huts, they made houses of burnt bricks, stones, timber. The food habits were different also. It was plants, scavenging or hunting when human beings were hunter-gatherers, and then when they farmed, when farming was practiced, then crops, animal products. They practiced also livestock rearing, so animals were there with them. Now these are some of the pictures of the shelter or of the places where the hunter-gatherers lived, as I mentioned earlier, that on the top of trees, in the caves. So these are some of the pictures which show that. Now when we come to the Neolithic period, when agriculture started, we find that agriculture had started at various points of time in various parts of the world. In Sumerian, it was 9500 BC. In Indus Valley and Peri, it was 7000 BC. In Egypt, it was 6000 BC. In Shang, in China, it was 5000 BC. In Greece, it was 4000 BC. In Mesoamerica, it was 2700 BC. And at various different points of time, agriculture started, and there was this animal husbandry or animal domestication or livestock rearing, which is also shown in this slide, that where animals were reared for various purposes. Now when we look at this one of the settlement, which is the earliest settlement in the Neolithic period, that is Çatalhöyük. Çatalhöyük in Turkey came in 7500 BC till 5700 BC. And you can see here that the location of Çatalhöyük in the map, and we find that the population ranged from about 5000 to 8000 persons. There was no division of labor, no social class. Food was basically farming and animal husbandry. And the settlement pattern, because this was the earliest settlement, there were houses with rooms, wall paintings, open area, but there were one very significant point was that there was how to access this house was very significant. There were these clustered houses in honeycomb-like maze with no footpaths and streets, and doors on rooftop accessed by stairs or ladders were there, and there were no public buildings, and basically stone and timber was used as a building material. Next settlement, again in Turkey, which is Kayuniu. Kayuniu came in 7200 BC. with a population of about 100 to 200 persons. It is a much smaller settlement. We call it as a farming settlement, and there were community groups of religious beliefs. Food was basically again dependent on crops, that is wheat and barley, and then there was use of currency. Then the socioeconomic aspects, if we see, we'll find that they were basically tribal. They used copper, metal, had jewelry made of bones, stones, shells and beads. This settlement, Kayonu Tepesi, which is a much smaller settlement as compared to Ketelhöyük in Turkey, we find that the shelter or the buildings or the built up structures, how they evolved, it in various layers or various levels were there. In the first level we find that there were no buildings, only cooking pits. In the second level we find that there was this grid like foundation, pebble pavements, parallel walls, wooden beams and plaster floors. In the next level, as they evolved, we find that there were buildings, and there was terrazzo floors. Buildings were of 9 to 10 meter, that means about 90 square meter. Then terrazzo floors, construction was in white limestone, cobbles were used, crushed rocks were used, and they had decorative ornamentations. And the last level was when they evolved further, we have stone foundations, cell-like units with walls built of mud. Now coming to the river valley civilizations, we find that the first civilization, river valley civilization, which started from 12,000 and continued till 200 BC, before Christ era, we find, while we discuss the river valley civilizations, we find that Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization was the first river valley civilization, and they developed along the river Tigris and Euphrates, and where floods were the major or main hazard. There was social stratification, there was emphasis on religion and mysticism, there were industrial activities. The monarchs governed in the civilization. Now they developed clay pottery, sculpture. The earliest system of writing on stones, that is cuneiform, came in this point of time. The iron and bronze tools came, as you can see in figure 2. The figure 1 shows the clay pottery and sculpture. Ur-Babylon was one of the major settlements of this point of time, and in that map you can see how the Sumerian civilization came in. Now if we look at the settlements, how they were planned, there were independent city-states. Limits were defined by canals and boundary stones. City-states were centered on a temple, political center and a granary at center. Then there were people moved by foot. There was grid pattern of streets. Intercity movement was through waterways. There were climate responsive houses made from marsh reeds or mud bricks. Then dams were constructed on Tigris and Euphrates river for irrigation, and complex irrigation canals were dug to harness the waters for agriculture around the city. When we further look at the Mesopotamian civilization, the major settlement of Mesopotamian civilization or Sumerian civilization, Ur-Babylon. Ur-Babylon, which came in 3800 BC, we find had a population of 65,000 persons. You can see in the map how it looked like, the Ur-Babylon. Now it had an area of about 5,600, nearly 6,000 hectares of area, and the economic activities were farming, animal husbandry, trade. There was a social hierarchy also. Then they used iron weapons, and as we said earlier that this civilization, Sumerian and or Mesopotamian, were governed by monarchs. So this city-state was also governed by monarchs. And the settlement pattern, this drawing shows the settlement pattern, how the city looked like. The size was monumental. There were huge boundary walls for security. As the drawing shows, you can see the entire settlement is bounded by a wall. Now this settlement was occupied by civil service and priests. The circulation pattern was in grids. There was grid circulation pattern. Houses were about 3 to 4 story high. There were ziggurats. Ziggurats were actually temples, which you can see in the center. Ziggurats were 8 story high temples, and the transportation was based on intercity was based on water. So as you can see, the river, there was a support city, river passes through the city, and all the intercity movement was based on water. When we look at the Egyptian civilization which followed Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization, we find that Egyptian civilization developed along river Nile, and the desert was one of the main physical constraints for further development of this civilization. There was a high influence of religion after flooding of Nile. There was a concept of rebirth. Then they also had pictographic writing. The economy was based on, as we said, agricultural economy or based on agriculture, limited industries, and there were trade relations. People traded in jewelry, pottery, stone carving, and the first papyrus papers started here, which is in 1000 BC. Now, king was the religious leader here. He represented symbol of progress. There were lesser invasions at this time. As you can see, these pictures show the first papyrus paper, figure number 2, and the figure 1 shows the pictographs, and you can see that how the entire Egyptian civilization came up. Now, if we look at the skills which developed in this Egyptian civilization, we find that cuneiform, the earliest form of writing, developed at this point of time. There were bronze artifacts which came up, and if you can see these figure 1 shows it's a picture of cuneiform. It's a carving, which is a method of conveying, communicating or writing, earliest form of writing. And figure 2, which is shows bronze artifacts which were made at that point of time. The map shows the river and the settlements which came up along the river. There were few major settlements, not many, but few major settlements. Tel el Amarna, Kahun, there were these settlements, Heliopolis, Thebes, which came up. Now, when we look at the settlements in the Egyptian civilization, which spread from 3000 to 330 BC, we find that the city structure or city pattern was basically rectangular. There was an orthogonal street grid of about 350 meters by 400 meters. The city was surrounded by a brick wall, as we have seen in Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization. Then there were temples, palaces, royal residences, barracks, offices of the administration. They were all surrounded by the walls. And then the town serving the pyramid temple complex was called Kahun or Lahun, as we can see. There were one-story mud brick houses, and it was arranged haphazardly around the crossing of two major streets. and the alleys leading to the workers' dwellings ended in cul-de-sac. Streets had shallow stone channels running down the middle for drainage. As we have seen earlier, as I have discussed that Tel El Amarna was one of the settlements of Egyptian civilization. When we try and understand this, how this settlement was, we find that it was along, as the map shows, it was along the river Nile, and it had a population of about 20,000 to 50,000, and the area was less than 400 hectares, that is about 380 hectares. It was governed by kings, and there was distinct social hierarchy. Now, if we look at the settlement pattern or the settlement planning, we find that it was 6-mile long settlement. There were residential districts which were grouped around the imperial and sacred buildings, as we can see in the picture, in the figure. And then there were broad avenues, geometrically planned streets, large temple enclosures with large plazas, courts and administrative buildings on either side of the main road, surrounded by pools and summer cottages, buildings on set plans with receptions, domestic areas, bathrooms were found. The Indus Valley civilization, as you can see in the map, you can see the extent of Indus Valley civilization, which came from in 3300 BC and continued till 1300 BC. It came along the river Indus, and there were major settlements like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, etc. And as we can see that this civilization was characterized by small and dispersed communities. There were social stratification by profession. Then art developed, philosophy and nature-based religion was there. Then there was the whole economy was based on agriculture. There was also cultivation of cotton, and people reared animals. There was trade with Mesopotamian region or the Sumerian region. Then coins came up, or coins were used earlier, which was barter system, but now coins were used. And there was no royal authority or military. And as you can see, the figure 2 shows the picture of coins. Now coming to the art, skills and technology of this Indus Valley civilizations, we find that there were bronze artifacts, there were irrigation tools, and in the settlement planning we find that there was an upper town which had a citadel, which was fortified settlement on, as we said, it was upper, so it is on higher ground, and which had religious places, assembly halls, town halls, residences of the elites, the granary and the great bath. The lower town had residential areas of common people, and it consisted of in the center there was religious and institutional and cultural areas. In the north there was these production areas, that is agriculture and industries. In the south there was administration and trade and commerce. And the roads and the streets intersected at right angles. There were drains, connected drains along the roads. As you know, Indus Valley civilization is famous for very good drainage system. There were houses of burnt bricks with courtyard, wells, bathing area and kitchen. Now, these major settlements which I had earlier said, which we all know, Harappa, as you can see in figure 1, Mohenjo-daro, the ruins, you can see in figure 2, Lothal, the ruins of Lothal can be seen in figure 3, Dholavira ruins can be seen in figure 4. There were other settlements also. About 1500 sites were uncovered. Now, if we look at Mohenjo-daro, if we take the example of Mohenjo-daro as a settlement, which came around to 2600 BC, we find that there was about 35,000 people living here, or who lived here, and the settlement was divided into two parts. Upper part in the west with 12-meter high citadel used for public buildings, religious activities and important administrative activities, which you can see in figure 1, that is the upper town or the upper part, and figure 2 shows the lower town or the lower part in the east. While upper town was in the west, lower town was in the east, and the lower town represented multiple walled neighborhoods organized on a grid system with 4 avenues several meters wide. There were drains in the middle and side of road running from east to west. Roads divided the area into blocks with alleys and lanes. Now, if we look at the governance, there was no distinct social hierarchy. As we can see in the drawing, in the western part was which was the upper part, was the citadel, as you can see in this drawing, and the eastern part we had the lower town. And when we look into the lower town, we find that there are various hierarchy of streets. We have the primary street, and then we have the secondary street. Primary street is figure 2, you can see the primary street. In figure 3 you can see the secondary street, and finally in figure 4 you can see the tertiary street. Tertiary street is the widest. It had the granary near it, which is shown in figure 6, and then you had the great bath, the picture of the great bath, which is shown in figure 5, and there was a very well laid out drainage system, which you can see in figure 1 along the roads, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the Indus Valley civilization was replaced by the Aryans or the Vedic people, and if we look at if we compare the ancient Indus Valley civilization and the Vedic period civilization, we can see that there were traders in the Indus Valley civilizations, and then there was the economy of the Indus Valley civilization was based on agriculture, pottery, and then there was this houses were made of burnt bricks and stones. But in the Vedic period civilization, we find that people worked in the fields and forests. The economy was partly pastoral and partly agriculture, and the houses were made of reeds and bamboo thatched with leaves. Now we come to the Shang dynasty. Though we would be discussing the Vedic period civilization later also, but now we come to the Shang dynasty, which was from 1766 to 1122. As you can see in the world map, it is in China, and it was along the river, Yellow River, and then river was the main constraint because it was flooding, there was mud, and there was this rigid social classes. They had pictographic writings, they practiced agriculture, hunting, pottery, they used tools made of bronze, there was specialization of labor, they used chariots by the royal classes for transportation. Now, king was head of politics and religion. There were written regulations for each hierarchy. If you can see, figure 1 shows the pottery, and and also there is a figure of the chariot, which you can see in figure 2, and this map shows the location of the Shang dynasty. Now, regarding their art and what sort of skills they had, there were burnt clay artifacts, bronze artifacts, bone cuneiforms. Cuneiform was the earliest form. Cuneiform was a form of writing, so on bones they used. And as you can see in figures, in figure 1 and 2, you can see these. Then there was this major settlements, which is Zhengzhou and Da Yishang, and there was a hierarchy of settlements. If you can see the planning of settlements or how the settlements were planned, there was this capital Du, the city Yi, and Yu was the village. There were palaces, temples, and storage areas which were located in capital city. River channels were used for goods transportation, flood, and also they had flood control because the river flooded many times. So flood control and irrigation techniques also they had. When we see one of the important settlements of the Shang dynasty, that is Banpo. Banpo had a population of about 5,000 people, an area of about 5 to 6 hectares, and it was in the Yongyan plains of the Yellow River. Now we see that the settlements with the Great Hall was surrounded by a moat, and there were graves and pottery kilns which were located outside the moat perimeter. And the houses were semi-subterranean with the floor typically 1 meter below the ground surface and supported by timber poles. And houses were aligned according to the solar orientation. Now the community was a matriarchal society and there was a distinct social hierarchy. It was a well planned and well managed settlement, and as you can see in the figure 2 there is this Banpo museum, in the figure 3 the ruins of the settlement you can see, and the map of this Shang where Banpo is located. Now when we compared these river valley civilization, now that we had when we want to summarize these river valley civilization, we see that a comparison of the various river valley civilization which came at various points of time, and we find that the Sumerian and the Mesopotamian civilization came along the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, Egyptian civilization came along river Nile, Indus Valley came along river Indus, and the Chinese civilization came along Huanghe. There were various physical constraints as has been written here. Now we find that there was social stratification, then emphasis on religion and mysticism, and the first ever writing in the world which developed in the Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization. In the Egyptian civilization there was a concept of rebirth of king, there were pictographic writing, and the economy was dependent on agriculture. Because of its river valley civilization, basically most all the civilizations were dependent on agriculture, but other scales or other economic activities had also developed. In Indus Valley also there was dependence on agriculture, but there were trade also with Mesopotamian region, then or Sumerian region. Then in China we have there were rigid social classes, pictographic writings, specialization of labor. Now when we look at the governance aspects of these, when we compare the governance aspects of these river valley civilizations, we find that Egyptian civilization was governed by monarchs, whereas pharaohs ruled the kingdom as gods in the Egyptian civilization. In Indus Valley there was strong centralized government, and in China they were ruled by kings. And as we can see that in art or skills we find that cuneiform, which was this wedge shaped carvings which came, there were bronze artifacts, wheels, sails, then plows, irrigations developed. Hieroglyphics that developed in in Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization, but in Egyptian civilization there were hieroglyphics or symbolic writing. Disciplines like medicine, mathematics, geometry, it developed in the Egyptian civilization. Then plumbing and sewerage system developed in the Indus Valley civilization. Significant. These are the significant differences between the various civilizations. And we find in China there was writing, there was silk culture, there was coined money, then cast iron artifacts which developed. So now I summarize, dear students, today you have learnt that how or I would say you have learnt the first part of planning history, that is how settlements evolved over in the before Christ era, that is BCE, over various points of time, from Paleolithic period that and Mesolithic period, that is when human beings was hunter gatherer, to the Neolithic period when human beings were farmers, and then subsequently the river valley civilizations, various river valley civilizations we discussed. And thank you